but you have to understand how frustrating it is to come home from a long day of work and find your husband chilling like he doesn't have a care in the world.
Well, you got to understand how frustrating it is to take 5 minutes to sit down on your day off and make your wife make you feel guilty about it.
You know what? We have this same argument, the same debate, right about it. I don't want to do it. You know what? We may as well just save some time and build a big old sign, right? So we can just put all our complaints on it and we can point.
Okay, House of Payne fans. Now, this is a very interesting point I saw on Instagram. One thing about these recent episodes, and please, before going further into this video, I think it's very important for you to check out my episode 9 review, Hut Psych, because I'm really going to focus on the Janine and CJ dynamic from this particular episode. So even if you don't watch House of Payne anymore, the reboot on BET, but you watch my content, and if you're fans of the original series, just please trust me on this. Go watch my review and then come back and watch this video. But in any case, the clips, I think is House of Payne clips, or House of Payne and Assisted Living. Either way, it's an Instagram account, sizable following, and they post clips from the episode. And the thing about this particular season is that there are some talking points that bring about a good amount of discussion, like, well, Calvin Jr. wants Miranda and Calvin to get back together, or or in this case, Calvin Jr. has to pick a sport, to pretty much release his bottled up anger issues. Like his dad wants him to do football, Ella wants him to do tennis, and the other thing I wanted to focus on was CJ and Janine's dynamic. Now, Demetria and Alan, they haven't lost it. I mean, their on-screen chemistry is as strong as ever. Man. But Janine is a bit of a piece of work. And keep in mind, she was a guest star in the first BET season. Then she was absent for, I want to say, 2 full seasons. I know she was in last season, and then she's in this season because we're in the 5th season of the reboot. But there are times where she's a bit overbearing, and as CJ points out, and that's what I liked about this episode, CJ points out that she is extremely naggy. She has certain faces she makes when she's being judgmental, and in this case, when it comes down to it, CJ was just on the couch looking over some, political stuff in regards to the local school district, because ever since Malik started working on that campaign, I wanted to, be more aware about local government. And then, Janine just jumps on him because he's just sitting around doing nothing, even though this is his day off. And I love reading the comments because I left something too. I'm like, wow, I mean, Janine's just acting like CJ's a bum. I mean, can we go back to a season or 2 ago where I believe it was either Malik or Curtis or somebody that kind of called out, CJ for not really, quote unquote, being a man, because he was just, he was loaded down with way too much responsibility. Janine, I believe, obviously Demetria was off working on other projects, getting that paper. Do you. That's how you do it. But Janine, the character, she was in NYC, I believe, for work. And as a result, CJ had to cook, maintain the household, look after the twins. What was it? Because aside from cooking, he takes the twins, back and forth to a school. Jasmine doesn't live there anymore. Remember, she's in college, so she lives on campus. But there are times when she comes back, either weekend, holiday, summer vacation, or whatnot. Then, of course, you got Malik. You got his baby mama, Lisa. Then you got the, Melissa in the house too. So what? CJ, twins. So that's 6 people. Remember, Jasmine isn't there all the time. So that's like 5 people under the household he needs to take care of, plus work his own job. And Janine wants to get on his case because he has a day off and he's just reading up on some articles. And the fact that I praise season 13 because there are issues that are, being being discussed in multiple episodes. I think that's what works best, that not every issue is resolved in 20 minutes or less. Because then when the similar issue comes up again, sometimes only a couple episodes later, here we are back at square one. No, the issues in this season feel more real. Like, okay, like Calvin Jr.'s anger issues, they were brought up in this episode. More to the point of continuity. Malik's job being mentioned. He wasn't on screen, but thankfully, it was just a nod to continuity. Like, oh yeah, remember a few episodes ago when we had that councilman over at the house? And that's what CJ was looking at, the political stuff in the local government. So I really love that. And then when it comes to CJ and Janine, the episode where CJ forgets their anniversary of their first wedding, and then CJ and Janine both kind of forgot about it because they have way too much going on between their respective jobs and, taking care of their kids and whatnot. And well, they, even though they don't want to admit it, they aren't spring chickens anymore. So they're pretty much, they're under the same household. They have the same last name. They're married. They have kids. But at the same time, they're kind of like, two boats going in different directions in the same river. It's just like there's so much going on that they don't take enough time for themselves to check in and kind of maintain the romance of their marriage. Like, obviously, they still love each other. It's just that there's so much going on that they forget to take care of themselves. Side note, I kind of feel the same way. Obviously not in a relationship since because I'm single, but I still haven't even baked that dang funfetti birthday cake. But next Thursday is when I hit 7 years of being self-employed. So I will definitely bake a cake then to celebrate. So it's kind of like, hey, almost 2 months later and I'll finally have that birthday cake / celebration cake. There you go. So I will post pictures to prove that I'm doing that. But yeah, it is easy when you're busy with life, not to mention taking care of other people. You sometimes forget to, check in with each other, or in my case, just take care of yourself. So one comment that stood out to me on Instagram was someone saying, you know what? I would not be surprised if Janine starts using again because, she's just either agitated by every little thing, or it's like she is cherry picking things to be upset at. And it's ridiculous. And then when CJ tries to, point out her being, hypocritical, then she wants to like either point a knife at him or act, dramatic. And then she might calm down eventually, but only after she lashes out at him. And it's kind of, interesting to, point that out. Now, personally, I don't think we're going to see Janine use again, but at the same time, it is an interesting plot point because keep in mind, if I don't think the BET reboot is going to go that dark with it, but it would be an interesting take. But let's be real here. I don't think any of us would want to see Janine go down that route, especially after all the growth she's had from the original season. But it is an interesting thing to consider because we almost got a taste of this back in the first reboot season when, what was it? Caleb, I think that was the dude who was the preacher's son, who was Jasmine's boyfriend at the time, and he was like a known dealer in the neighborhood. And I think they had found his vape pen or something in Jasmine's backpack or underneath the couch or something, and they thought it was Jasmine's, but it was Caleb's. And I think it somehow ended up at Curtis and Ella's house, and that's how they both got high for like 4 episodes. But in any case, Caleb was like, oh yeah, that's mine. I've been looking for that. And it's like, oh, you want a hit? And he holds it up to Janine, and we go to commercial break. And I'm like, and then they never talked about that again. I'm like, do you know how big of a moment that was? But we never explored it. And I don't even know if Lisa knows about the usage. I remember at the end of the second season where she was like dressed up like Lucy from I Love Lucy, trying to, prove to Janine before she gets home from her business trip that, hey, a lot has changed, Miss Payne. I'm an honest woman now, and I'm able to cook and provide for my man, your son. But in the midst of it, because she thinks CJ and Malik's family are picture perfect, not knowing all the stuff that they've gone through in the past. And Malik hints towards this, but I don't think that Lisa knows it. But it is very telling because in the original series, and like I've said time and time again, my memory of the original series is kind of fuzzy because I didn't watch every single episode religiously because I was in like middle school, high school at the time, and they kept changing the time slot on Wednesday night. And obviously I couldn't stay up till like 10 o'clock on a Wednesday to watch new episodes when I had school the next morning. But I think that after she beat her addiction, went to rehab, or agreed to go to rehab, beat her addiction, her and CJ both dated other people. Wasn't it like CJ dated Robin Givens and didn't Janine date Michael Jai White, and then Rick Fox was like that coworker that flirted with her or something. But then she ended up getting back together with CJ. They had the twins, but then Janine went to work again. But the thing was, CJ called her out because he was pretty much left to take care of the twins by himself because Janine was always working, and he called her out because you're using work as a form of addiction now. You're not using drugs, but you're addicted to your job. And that's pretty much, causing you to neglect your family. And I think CJ even said, like, look, I'm glad you're doing better, but you put this family through a lot. So I know you want to be, the all-American woman taking over the business world, but right now this family needs you. So it's okay for you to work, but not you working around the clock to the point where we don't even see you. The twins were just born, and if things keep up the way they are now, these twins won't even know their mama. So yeah, I honestly feel like the agitation, like I didn't think too much of it when watching the episode. I'm like, oh yeah, couples that are together that long, there's bound to be a point where every little thing you do is going to get on somebody's, the way you eat, the way you chew, the way you breathe, the way you I don't know, talk on the phone or something. It gets under their skin. They can't even take it anymore. But when you look at it a bit closer, it is a bit telling. Like, man, are there some warning signs here? Possibly, but again, this could just be one of those things where they played up the drama for the episode. Yeah, there are times like that where, characters will act overly emotional, like, or, irrational just for the sake of conflict. We've seen it time and time again with Laura, or, Miranda, or, Ella, or, Curtis being overly selfish. But yeah, I honestly would be interested to get your take in this. Do you think that Janine could just be looking for reasons to be unhappy, and then at some point use these things as an excuse to start using again? Oh, I'm stressed out because, I work all day and I take care of the kids and I cook and CJ's doing nothing and I'm just falling apart and I just need something to make me feel better. So then she starts using again. I don't think the reboot's going to go that dark, but I can see a potential setup. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, before I close out, I don't think they'll do this, but imagine if Lisa finds herself in a position where, let's say, she starts working again, because one of the plot points of the season is her trying to find out what kind of job she can do. Imagine if she is offered drugs, because even though she's not in the club anymore, let's say, this is only if they, I doubt it, add new set pieces and whatnot. We've seen new characters pop up here and there, but imagine if Lisa's out with, some of her old friends from, the strip club and whatnot. And then, girl, I had a hard shift. You want a hit of this? And then, Lisa's offered drugs. And then maybe she comes home, not really fully herself. And it is noticeable. But even worse, let's say Janine is the one to see something's off of her. I just took one hit. And then that's how Janine finally reveals to Lisa her own addiction habits in the past. And then Lisa is like, oh no. And then she decides to kick the habit before it becomes, she decides to kick using that stuff before it becomes an addiction or a habit. And then that brings Janine and Lisa closer together. See, that's a good storyline right there. Because like I said, it's been great to see Lisa and Janine interact some, but I think in terms of bringing them closer together, because let's say Lisa is feeling overwhelmed being a new mother. Her and Malik are going through a lot in terms of, trying to earn money and move out. It's just become so stressful. Or maybe they do eventually move out, but, it's all overwhelming because everything costs so much, rent, groceries, taking care of the child, Malik's in school and he's working. And then the romance kind of fizzles out a bit because they don't have time for each other. And man, the cycle could kind of repeat itself unless Janine comes in and, you know, fixes it. So yeah, there's that. Or maybe Malik notices some signs and maybe he talks to his parents about it. Maybe his dad first, and it's like, wait, those signs are kind of the things I missed when your mom was. Oh no. See what I mean? This could go very, you know, very deep if they wanted to. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.